Sai Ram. God coming in human form is to facilitate people to have the proximity of the divine so that He can transform them and give happiness. Invoking Bhagwan's presence, I offer my most humble pranams at the lotus feet of our dearest Lord, Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Respected elders, brothers and sisters of Sai family, Sai Ram to everyone. We welcome you this evening to the 133rd episode of Samarpan. Samarpan is an offering of gratitude by alumni of Sri Sathya Sai Educational Institutions, recurring on third Sunday of every month. This evening, we are happy to have Srimati Susmita Patnaik with us. Srimati Susmita was brought under the divine umbrella of Bhagwan Baba at the young age of 6 by her pious parents, Sri Bipin Patnaik and Srimati Janaprabha Patnaik. She was a Bal Vikas delegate to the All India Bal Vikas Conference held in Prashanti Nilayam during 1975, Bhagwan's 50th birthday. Since then, she has been actively participating in various service activities of Sri Sathya Sai Seva organization, Berhampur, Odisha. Srimati Susmita spent her 12 most memorable years at the Anantapur campus of Bhagwan's University starting from 1980. She enrolled into 2 years course of PUC. From 1982 to 1985, she studied bachelor's degree. From 1985 to 87, she completed master's in philosophy, receiving gold medal from the divine hands of Bhagwan. In the year 1987, she moved on to Madras University to pursue MPhil degree. In 1988, she returned to Bhagwan at Anantapur as a lecturer in the Department of Philosophy. After 4 years of working in Anantapur, she got married in 1992. Later, she earned a degree of education, and since 1995, she has been teaching the high school students Berhampur, Odisha. Srimati Susmita treasures the duration of her life at Anantapur campus as the golden period of her life. She cherishes fondly various experiences and memories like Swami's visit to the campus during her stay there, participating in the institute as well as student and faculty member, and her frequent interactions with Swami. According to her, Swami is the essence of her existence and her being. She has been blessed with number of memories with Bhagwan. I request Srimati Susmita to share her experiences with beloved Swami. Sai Ram.
I offer myself at the lotus feet of our beloved Swami. O Lord, every word that is expressed here may benefit every listener, including me. Dear Swami, I am grateful to you for the privilege to express thy love in these words. Respected elders, dear brothers and sisters, and my loving youngsters, Sai Ram to all of you. Thank you, sister, for your beautiful introduction. Well, your appraisal to my creator was really wonderful. Thank you so much for the same. Now I am reminded of a beautiful event that was spoken here on this platform by Mrs. Geeta Mohan. When she was talking, she said that when she wanted to take permission from Swami, whether she should speak about her experiences about Swami, Swami told her, "What do you think? You speak? You are only a tape recorder. When I switch on, no matladtav. When I put off, no urkuntav." That means when I put on the tape recorder, you speak. and I put off the tape recorder, you stop. And that's what I feel I'm doing here. Now, let me start with how my family came to Swami. It was way back in 1970s. We all had visited our maternal grandmother's family. And there, my mother heard some beautiful bhajans nearby, and she was very curious. She wanted to know what was that song about. And then, on enquiry, she found out that there was bhajan going on, Sai Baba bhajans going on there. She wanted to know where the Sai Baba is and what all about him. And luckily, as he willed it, the servant who was working in my maternal grandmother's house brought a book and gave it to my mother. And do you know what it was? It was the first volume of Satyam Sivam Sundaram, written by Professor Kasturi. My mother was very happy. And I shouldn't forget to tell you, you know the name of the servant who brought the book? His name was Arakshit. Arakshit is a name of God, meaning that the one without any protector. Swami always says that in this creation, everybody is Rakshit because Bhagwan is Rakshak of all, but he is the only one who is Arakshit. So just see what a coincidence or divine will. My mother started reading the book. She was a lady living in the joint family almost all the time, very busy. So whenever she found time, she would sit in a corner and read the book. Seeing her being busy in this book, my father was very, very curious. He wanted to know what she was so busy in reading. And after she finished the book, he grabbed the book and he started reading the book. And once he completed the book, there was the change. And as the divine will worked, at that time, somebody gifted a picture of Swami to my father. That picture was a colored form of the picture which Swami had created in Venkatagiri Raja's family. So that colored picture was placed in our altar, and then Swami stepped into our family and started being worshipped by our family members. Gradually time passed on. My father was yearning to go to Puttaparthi. Somehow he found out ways and means how to go. It took him 2 more years. By 1972, he planned for all of us to visit Puttaparthi. Then visiting Puttaparthi was not an easy affair. We had to travel for a very long time, maybe 3 or 4 days, and there was no direct train or bus to Puttaparthi. Whatever it is, whatever vehicle we took, we had to get down far off from Puttaparthi. So we all travelled, and then we got down from bus at Bukkapatnam. That was evening, twilight time. It was getting dark. And the place which was called a bus stand over there were only five to 6 stalls over there. Tea stalls, biscuits, things were being sold, and no more human being found except 5 or 6 human beings sitting over there. My father was wondering how to take these children and family at this time. So what did he do? He was looking around, searching for somebody who could provide help, and then landed an old man. He asked my father, "What are you looking for?" My father said, "We want to go to Puttaparthi to see Sai Baba. How can we go?" And the old man said, "Oh, you want to go? It's already late, and from here we don't have any bus now. If you have to go, you have to go by the bullock cart. Just wait for a minute, I'll get you one." Again he went back somewhere and fetched us one bullock cart. We all were put like luggages into the bullock cart along with the trunks that we carried. Those days there were no suitcases. Iron trunks had to be carried. And in that, since we were 3 children along with our parents, my mother was careful about carrying all household things so that she could cook food and provide us. We did not know what was available in Puttaparthi. And then we started our journey towards Puttaparthi. At that time it was getting dark, and we started. As we proceeded, we did not know where to go, so the old man offered himself. He said, I am walking along with the bullock cart. You will proceed, I shall show you the way. We started moving, it was getting darker and darker, and we were amidst the cultivated land. There were no crops then, it was all dry, here and there some thorny bushes. And we children dozed off. We were already tired, traveling already for 3 days. That was the third day evening. We dozed off. Suddenly it was almost dark, and in the breeze wafted through our ears beautiful bhajans, melodious bhajans, and we woke up and we started listening to that bhajan. My father asked the fellow, the man in the bullock cart, what is this bhajan about? He said, this is from Puttaparthi Sai Baba. Bhajan is going on there. So what will Sai Baba be doing now? He said, he must be sitting and enjoying the bhajans. Then we remembered the old man, the one who was accompanying us to show us the way. We looked around and we did not find him. He was nowhere to be seen. We could see far till the horizon. We could see only stretched dry land. There was no human being. And then our elders realized it was Shirdi Baba who was leading us to Puttaparthi Sai Baba. Now our minds are diverted towards Puttaparthi Sai Baba, leaving Shirdi Baba. Now we went along, and then we were really anxious to reach Puttaparthi. So my father asked, how long is it for us to reach Puttaparthi? The bullock cart man said, just few more time, maybe half an hour or so we will be reaching. As we were proceeding, enjoying the beautiful bhajans coming in the breeze, slowly the bhajan ended and we couldn't hear any more, and we were coming close to Puttaparthi. It was nearly 7:30 or 8 o'clock, already dark. And we reached Puttaparthi. Now I realize the way that we we entered Puttaparthi was somewhere near the Anjaneya Swami temple that is there near to the village, near Pathamandiram. We took that road and we came towards Prashanti Nilayam in the bullock cart. That person alighted us, we got down over there. Now where stands the Gopuram. At that place there was a huge well at that time. There was no Gopuram, there was no boundary wall, there was nothing whatsoever in Puttaparthi those days. And we walked, taking our luggage, we walked. At that time, Purnachandra Auditorium was under construction. Only the foundation stones were laid. There were sand dunes and stones and boulders. We found many people had already retired. They had stretched themselves on the sand dunes and everything was quiet. But there was a kind of very, very blissful atmosphere and everywhere vibhuti fragrance. My parents too spread some sheets for us and we lied down, tired as we were. Immediately we went off to sleep. And the next day morning, we woke up by the call of our parents. Come on, we have to see God, they told us. My father took my brother's hand and went to the Jain site. Me and my sister went along with my mother. My younger sister was too small. She was on the lap of my mother. And those days there was no boundary wall also. And this present Prashanti Mandir was not there. There was a building standing in that place. So we all went towards Mandir. People were already seated. There was no row, there was no Seva to mind the discipline, nothing. Just quietness. And people were sitting here and there. Of course, gents on the left side and the ladies on the right side. My mother went and took a place and then we sat. I sat beside her. My sister was still sleeping. I was wondering, where are we? Where have we come? My mother said, my parents told that we are going to see God. And then suddenly, a beautiful, very, very melodious, serene and peaceful sound started. It continued. It was more or less, to my tender mind, was like, maybe it was the sound of the Pushpak Viman on which God will arrive. Because since my parents told me God would come, I was only wondering God would come from heaven and he would be traveling by the Pushpak Viman. So he would be coming on the airways. So what I did, I started looking all around onto the sky, looking in all directions. From which direction will God arrive now? I was looking all around. Well, there will be light whenever the Pushpa Viman arrives. So I was looking, and this sound was going on, very, very peaceful, serene and blissful. And slowly, after some time, the upstairs door of that building opened, and there came out the beautiful, the most enchanting, endearing form of Swami. I was looking at him. My mother said, God is He. And then I realized, oh, He is God. He is my Lord, my Master. Then the sound stopped and bhajan started. It seems that was the Prabhat Darshan that Swami used to give those days. And the sound that we were enjoying was the Suprabhatam. For the very first time in my life, I heard the Omkaram being recited, and after that, Suprabhatam started. So, when the Suprabhatam was going on, Swami was slowly walking on the veranda of the first floor, one was giving darshan. Beautiful, blissful, loving, endearing Swami that was. And after some time Suprabhatam was over, Swami receded through the same door. Nagar Sankirtan started. We also followed in the Nagar Sankirtan, went round there. Remember, I told you there was no boundary wall. I think there were small rooms onto the left side that is where now the East Prashanti stands. And onto our right was the Purnachandra Auditorium under constructions. Besides these, there was nothing at all. And then the time was over. Gradually it was morning, and the sun, it was light, bright all over. And then we got ready, and then there was buzz but no noise. It was very peaceful. And all the time there was this beautiful vibhuti fragrance all the time. Towards the afternoon, people gathered. I think that that trip was over with that. We stayed for a day or two. When we returned, I do not remember. After that, almost every year, Swami brought us to Puttaparthi. And it was a habit of my father. Whenever he came to Parthi, he would bring somebody or the other who yearned to have the darshan of Swami. So it was in 1974. That year when we visited Swami, my maternal grandmother accompanied us. Just before that, my grandfather had expired. So my parents thought that they should bring my grandmother to have darshan of Swami. My grandmother's family belonged to a Vaishnavite family. My grandmother had got married when she was 13 years old and belonged to a very pious and religious, devout family. Since her childhood, she was used to meditation, japam, and lot of worshipping God. And she really loved the form of Sri Krishna. When we came to Parthi, that time already the construction was over, Purnachandra Auditorium, and we were all sitting. After the darshan was over, we didn't find grandmother. She was somewhere. My mother said, just go and look around where Mama is. She's not to be found. So I ran, and my grandmother was walking towards the mandir. I quickly ran, caught hold of her hand, and we brought her. I asked her, Mama, did you see Swami? She said, did you see Swami? She said, yes, I saw God. Where did you see? Where were you sitting? I asked. Those days, Purnachandra Auditorium did not have this kind of veranda and so almost to the floor. It was little raised, and there were stairs, 2 to 3 steps. With distance, there were quite a few steps there, and 2 to 3 steps to enter into the auditorium. And she said that she was sitting on the Zen side on the steps. And she said, God passed me. And when he passed me, I said, how did he look like? How did you see? I was small. I was only maybe 8 to 9 years old at that time. 10 years old that time. And she said, I saw him. He was all blue. And there was a peacock feather on his head. And he had the kaustubh mani, he had the pearls, he had the murali in his hand. And I was surprised and staring into my grandmother, describing so happily the form of Sri Krishna. Since she loved Sri Krishna, Swami gave her darshan in her beloved deity's form. That is our Swami. We have heard stories of 1950s devotees. They tell us that Swami used to give them darshan in their beloved deities form. Somebody saw him as Durga, somebody saw him as Krishna, somebody saw him as Shiva. Now, hearing my grandmother relating this, I literally got goosebumps. That was it. And that trip was over. After that, it was in 90. By then, we had already joined the Samiti of our place, Barahampur, Odisha. And I had joined the Bal Vikas, and myself and my brother, we selected and came as delegates for the All India Bal Vikas conference to be held in 1975, Swami's 50th birthday. And we came to Puttaparthi. That a new this Prashanti Mandir was already constructed, and we came to Puttaparthi. We had to register, and all of us children, all the Bal Vikas children were taken in bus. We were told we were going to Anantapur. That time I was 11 years old and I did not know where we were going. We were taken to Anantapur hostel. We were lodged over there. All the children coming from all over India, from different states. We came there. We had to practice. A group of us practiced songs, bhajans, drama, and all of us together practiced March Past. And that was, there was a song specifically composed for this occasion, was Sai Sai Japte Chalo, Bolo Milkar Sai Ram. And we children used literally, there were people who had come from the army to teach us how to march past. So we all practiced, we remained there for 4 days, according to Swami's instructions. And then on Swami's birthday, we were brought to Puttaparthi all in white dress, and that time the gate that is there, Gopram was not there, but into little bit inside, in front of Prashanti Mandir, there was a gate. And just exactly in front of Prashanti Mandir, there was a circular grill, inside which plants were there. Opposite to it, exactly near the gate, there was a Ganesh statue. Swami was standing over there, and Swami Karunyananda Karuji was holding the umbrella over Swami's head. And we entered through that main gate, marching past, singing Sai Sai Japte Chalo, Bolo Milkar Sai Ram. And I would tell you, we literally felt we were the soldiers marching past God. Swami was blessing us, smiling, endearing form of the Lord. We were so happy, we felt so blessed. We were all just in front and straight shoulder and march past we were doing. We passed through that, Swami blessed us. Then we were seated in the auditorium, and there Swami's discourse was there. Swami gave us big round badges, and then he gifted us a pair of pens, one ball pen and one fountain pen. We went back home. After we returned home, our whole family got involved in Sathya Sai Samiti, and myself in all possible activities of Sai Samiti. I was admitted into some Bal Vikas named Sainath Chaya Bal Vikas. I mention here the nomenclature because the name is very much symbolic to me and my life. The meaning of Sainath Chaya is the shade of Sainatha. Well, I came under the shade of Sai's umbrella. And at this juncture, I would take this opportunity to be grateful to my parents and offer my gratitude to my parents who brought this tender child to the Master, to the Lord, the Creator, to the Almighty Supreme Lord. I am grateful to my parents for the same. And then there, when I was attending the Bal Vikas, my Bal Vikas Guru said, when you went for Swami's birthday in 1975, you stayed in Anantapur. Do you know what place it is? Then I said, no. He said, it is Swami's college for women. In Anantapur, Swami has established a college for women. Now that you are already coming close to your 10th standard, would you like to go and study in Swami's college? Well, I jumped up. I said, yes, I would like to. But next sentence was, but you have to study very well to study in that college, you really have to excel in your studies. I said, yes, I should put in all my efforts. Then started my one pointed endeavor to go to Swami's college and be a Sai student. Thenceforth started my preparations. I would sit and study, and whenever I would sit down to study, I would pray Swami. Swami, I am sitting down to study. All that I study, please help me to remember. And after my studies would be over, again I would pray Swami. Swami, I have completed study. Please help me to remember all that I have studied and also to recollect when I write my exams. All through, since my childhood, it was never a shortcut for me in any way. I would take a hard life. I would always try to work hard, put in my efforts, and then always pray Swami for help. It went on, and I gave my exams, 10th exams, and waiting for the results. Here already the application forms were given of Anantapur College. Those days only postal communication was there, and telephone communication was there, PP calls. It was very difficult to get any calls. We had applied for the form had come, but we did not fill up the form because my results were not out. And when my results were out, can you believe? I had got distinction marks. And those days distinction marks means 65% and above. 60% was the first class. And it was very, very difficult to score that mark. And as per the rules of Odisha government then, the students who scored distinction marks in Odia language would be awarded a free education by the state government. Since I had scored distinction marks in Odia language and literature, I was given that chance to go for a free education thenceforth. But then no, I did not want to. I wanted to study in Swami's college. So I did not accept that offer. I told my father, I want to go to Swami's college. As my parents wanted me to go to Swami's college, my father went and got the provisional mark list. We took the mark list, we took the form, and we proceeded to Anantapur. Not Anantapur, sorry, we went to Puttaparthi because we wanted to have Swami's darshan and then think what we could do. Maybe personally go and hand over the application form because there were no time. And postal communication would take nearly 7 to 10 days from my place to Anantapur. So we went to Puttaparthi, we had Swami's darshan. I told Swami in the line, Swami, I want to join your college. It must have fallen into Swami's ears. And then we took the form, along with the form. Now we posted the application form in Puttaparthi itself. And we waited and waited and waited and waited. Long wait. There was no response from Anantapur. We got to know there were many other students waiting for admission, have already got their interview cards. But I did not get. So my father decided we would personally go there and find out what the matter was. So my father and I went to Anantapur. It was evening time, and my father went and spoke to the authorities saying that we had come from a very far place, and then if at all the procedures are done, then if possible I could be admitted and he would return to do his duty. So after that I was called for the interview. It was evening 7 o'clock, and our principal madam, then principal, was Dr. J. Hemlata ma'am. Warden was Jema madam, Pushpa madam and Punashri madam. 4 of them were seated in a room and I was taken to that room. And now I would like to tell a very interesting thing. I studied till my 10th standard in Odia medium in the government school. Well, my standard was good of English, but I did not have practice of spoken English. I did not know how to speak a sentence in English. And here I have come to attend an interview in English. So I went over there. After 45 minutes, I came out of the room and my father asked, Ma, 45 minutes you were there inside. What did they ask you? I just looked at my father. I did not remember a word what I was asked. He asked me, what did you tell? At least you tell. That too I did not remember. For 45 minutes I was interviewed What I was asked and what I answered, I did not. After that, for that day's work, activities were over in the college, and somebody came and told my father, she has been selected, she can join the college. Tomorrow you can come and leave her in the hostel. For that night, we went to the Anantapur town then, and we took a lodge and stayed for the night. The next day, all my things were purchased by my father, and so he left me in the hostel and went back. Well, then my dream was fulfilled. Swami granted me my wish, my dream. I was in the seventh heaven. It went on. Though I did not know how to speak English, the atmosphere was very cordial. I had wonderful seniors, very loving, and the authorities, our warden Gemma madam and other teachers were very kind, very generous and compassionate. I was in the world of love. And though I did not know, slowly I picked up the language and started communicating. And then we were taken to Puttaparthi. Almost every week, every weekends we were taken to Puttaparthi. And then came Swami's birthday time. On the 16th of November, we were taken to Puttaparthi. Once we reached there, a word reached our warden, Gemma madam, that Swami wants the children in the evening after darshan at Prashanti Nilayam campus. He wants to give Prashanti Nilayam Mandir campus. He wants to give blessings and also saris to the students. So we were taken in the evening after darshan was over. I was first in the line, but and we were seated in two lines. And to describe you today, our line started maybe from the VIP gate of the ladies' side beside Prashanti Mandir. From there we started, and we sat up to Yajur Mandir, the gate leading to Yajur Mandir. Two lines were there, and we were seated facing, one line was facing Prashanti Mandir back to back. The other line was onto our back. Though I was the first person in the line, when Swami came, he started with the last person. That person, the girl must be seated towards the VIP gate of the ladies' side. Swami started distributing saris to almost everybody, and last he came to me. I was the last person, and when Swami reached me, all the saris were over. Then Swami returned to Prashanti Mandir. I did not get a sari. It was not noticed by the madams and the authorities who were there. They were towards the end. That was the VIP gate of the ladies' side. I was sitting almost near the gate leading to Yajur Mandir, facing Mandir. I was wondering, I was new, I was so simple. Did not understand what to do. Only the girl next to me knew that I did not get a sari. Others did not know. And obviously, they started to return. And ma'ams told the girls to start getting up and lead towards dormitory. So they started getting up from their lines. And here I was thinking and wondering, will I get a sari? Whom should I tell? Will I get a sari or no? I was wondering like that. And what did I see? Swami was on the veranda, already with a sari in his hand. He came near the window on the ladies' side, and from there he beckoned me. And there I was with quick steps, literally running towards Swami. I ran onto the veranda. I took the Par Namaskar, and when I bowed down at his lotus feet, my friends told me later that Swami blessed me. When I got up, he handed over the sari very lovingly. And see, Swami's delays are never denials. He remembers. Mother Sai never misses anybody. Whoever we are, however insignificant you are, small or big, he notices everybody. He knows everyone. He loves everyone. And then I realized this was my Lord, and my Lord has accepted me. Then we went back. Our duty started for the birthday. And there we were. Those days, Anantapur girls used to do Seva work in all possible places. In the canteen, cutting vegetables, cleaning the kitchen and then serving food to the devotees. Those days, stalls were there. Now, just behind Yojan Mandir, you find a line of stalls. Those were the shopping complex, and some students worked over there, helping the aunties and uncles in selling goods. And some of us also were there in chapati rolling. Some others worked in the Punachandra auditorium doing discipline duty. Well, we used to be very busy. Once we reached Patti, we would divide ourselves, and madams used to be in charge. We used to be busy, lovingly, wholeheartedly doing the Seva work. We wouldn't be bothered about to run for darshan. We wouldn't even mind not having a darshan or going for the function that would be going on in Punachandra auditorium. So days would pass on, and last day, Swami's birthday, that day somehow we would almost literally wouldn't sleep the whole night doing our duties, and would manage to have a glimpse of Swami that day. And the next day, 24th, when we have to return to Anantapur campus. Our hearts heavy, eyes downcast. We do not want to go back, leaving our Swami. All of us are sad. We want to continue and be with Swami. We will sit back. Next, our place allotted there was next to Prashanti Mandir, on the ladies' side, just beside the Prashanti Mandir. Those days, attached, adjacent to Prashanti Mandir, there used to be one narrow veranda. And we were seated there, and there Swami came, 24th morning. He came near the Krishna statue, and he came and told to Seva madam, send the children one by one. I would bless them and give them prasadam. And yes, we all were seated together, and one by one we went to Swami, took namaskar, and Swami gave us a laddu. When the girl who was in front of me was taking namaskar and Swami was giving the laddu, I was little far away, the next person to go. Swami told, Pillalu chala pani chesaru. The children did lot of work, and I was so busy, I could not take care of you. I could not pay any attention to you. But you know, when to our family guests come, mother is so busy. She's so busy in hospitality. She's so busy looking after the guests that she is not able to take care of her children. But her heart and soul is with the children. Although I was busy with the devotees that had come from far and wide, my mind was with you children. You are my children. It was enough for us. All of us started shedding tears. Swami is telling that we are his children. What more we need? We need nothing else. We want only Swami as our mother. We all univocally said, Swami, we don't want to go. Then he said, no children, you have to go, attend college. Again you come back. So we took namaskar, took prasadam and par namaskar, and returned to Anantapur. We used to come and go. One such visits to Patti, we were seated beside the mandir, and evening time, the mandir aunties, they used to give us Swami's offered garlands to the girls, and we would be cutting them into small bits and put them on our hair. So that day, also evening, aunties gave us some garlands, and girls sitting at the back would cut them into pieces, pass them on. All of us put flowers on our heads, and we were sitting for darshan. Then came Swami. He came smilingly. చూస్తున్నాను, I'm seeing. See, అప్పచెల్లెల్లాగా అందరు పూలు పెట్టుకున్నారు కదా, like the sisters. You people, all of you, put flowers now. All of you equally distributed flowers and put on your hairs, right? This is unity. Swami loves unity. He said, ఇలాగే అప్పచెల్లెల్లాగా ఉండాలి. This is how you must remain sisters. And his word and his sankalpa is eternal and immortal. Today, all the students of Anantapur College have remained as sisters. We call ourselves daughters of Sai, and we are all sisters, children of Sai Mata. This is how Swami used to teach us in day-to-day life. Small incidents used to teach us universal values, human values, many things to imitate and apply to our lives. But at the same time, Swami was a hard taskmaster. When he wanted to teach a lesson, he was tough too. Once when we visited Puttaparthi, we had come for 4 days and we were seated in our place. Swami came out for darshan. He bent his head, cut us completely straight, a diagonal line. Directly he went to the devotees. He didn't even look at us. We wondered what happened. Well, we were sitting, maybe Swami is busy. Maybe he has to attend to some work. He directly went. From there he took the devotees line and went off to the Zen side. This way, second day passed, third day passed, and we were alarmed. We knew something was wrong, and we had come to Swami, and there we have upset Swami for something. We have done something wrong. So what we did, all of us started our sadhana. This is where Swami teaches us. See, only devotion, only bhajans, only our daily affairs is not enough. We have to have our individual sadhana if you want God. So, we had started our individual sadhana, doing Ashtotar Shatanam, all Astakams in the shed. We sat, we stopped eating our food. None of us went to the canteen. We sat in the dormitory. The dormitory was situated where right now the gents' canteen is there. There was a dormitory and we used to be there. We stayed there. We had special bhajans. We had all prayers, all kinds of prayers that you could. We were all silent, only crying and crying and crying. The next day we came, till late night we were there. As it is those days, we had problem. We had only hardly 4 bathrooms and nearly 300 of us. So whole night, room after room, we used to reserve the bathrooms and we used to have bath. So it was a regular affair for all of us. So we came in the morning, sat for darshan. Swami came out. Similarly, like the previous days, he started going, and we were all weeping that time. He went in front, went to the devotees. Again, this time, instead of going to the gents' side, he completed the ladies' round and came towards us. Looking at Swami, we started sobbing. So we were all sobbing, and Swami was proceeding towards us, muttering, "Rats and rabbits, rats and rabbits." He came closer to us, said, "I'm sending you buckets and handkerchiefs. Buckets to fill with tears and handkerchiefs to wipe our tears." We were literally loudly crying. And Swami went inside. After quite some time, again he came. And then he said, "You all have come to invite me." In fact, we had come then, that time, to invite Swami to come to Anantapur. "So you all have come to invite me. I want to go, but you all have built such a huge iron gate near Anantapur. How will I enter the campus? I cannot enter the campus. My car halts outside." We were really wondering what Swami was talking about. Then he said, "Iron gate of indiscipline." Then he said, "See, you students are making noise, talking so much of talking in the campus, in the hostel, in the college. Now all of you go back." We all started telling sorry to Swami. "Please forgive us, Swami, please forgive us. Please come to Anantapur." He said, "Okay, you all go back, be disciplined children, then we will see." Well, Swami went inside, we all went back to hostel, and you will not believe, when we entered into the bus and then when we got down in Anantapur, no one would believe that there were hundreds of students in the hostel. Even if you drop a pin, the sound can be heard. That silent it was. We had so many special bhajans, special prayers, individual sadhanas we all did, and the whole week there was no sound, no noise at all in the hostel. Coming week, we came to Patnaik. Swami was very happy with us. He called us for an interview, and in interview he said, "Now you all have come, I am coming. You all go back, make all arrangements. I am coming to Anantapur." And then during that, we had interview in the hall, prayer hall, Mandir Bhajan hall. One of us had the guts to ask Swami, Swami, you had been telling rats and rabbits. What does that mean? We never understood what Swami meant by that. Swami said, do you see on the arches, rabbits' pictures are there. I mean, embossed, cemented, embossed figures are there, rabbit figures. Rats and rabbits are meant for fickle mindedness and moving from here to there, here to there, here to there. They have no rules, they have no discipline at all. So, since you all became indisciplined and followed no rules, you were called rats and rabbits. So, then we realized what Swami meant by rats and rabbits. We all went back to Anantapur. We arranged for Swami's visit. And after that, I think Swami had come for, during January, it was for, during the Pongal time. So, our madams arranged for what you call, arranged a festival kind of a scene from village, rural Andhra festival scene. So, it was beautifully done, and the girls had smeared the floor, I mean the ground from the hostel till the ground, from ground to college, smeared with cow dungs and had put rangolis. Luckily, I happened to be behind Swami when Swami was proceeding. Nobody was there. There were all students, crowd was there, and I was behind Swami. And Swami asked me, "Pillalu esinara mugulanta? Did the children put all these rangolis?" I said, "Yes, Swami." "Eppude sare ratranta pettara andi? When did they put? Did they put the rangolis throughout the night or what?" I said, "Yes, Swami." They were working the whole night, and they smeared this cow dung and they put rangolis. That was a rural Andhra Pradesh scene they wanted to create, so this was a part of it. This shows, Swami, in the process of talking to us, in the process of a casual remark, he taught us how to appreciate things, what is to be given importance to, and how for little things. These are nothing for the Creator, for the Almighty Supreme Lord. Putting rangolis by the children is not a great thing. But then see the appreciation that he passed on to me then. It's there that I learned that appreciation carries a lot of weight. Whenever there is a small effort put forth by anyone, we are supposed to be appreciating. That was it. And it was all during my second year PUC. What happened? We used to be taken every weekend, as I said, to Parthi. And sometimes whenever the mess charges would be little higher, I wouldn't have sufficient money to go to Parthi. So it so happened once all my friends went and I couldn't go. I didn't have enough money to go. It was not much. The fare, I suppose it was 40 rupees only. And I couldn't make it. That I was very sad. I couldn't manage. Next time again when my parents sent me money, I went. So it went on. Again there was another week where I could not go. This was the second time and I couldn't take it anymore. I didn't want to tell my parents because during that time our family was going through a financial crisis. I didn't want to trouble my parents. And by then, a steady feeling, connection towards Swami had already developed within me. And instead of telling my parents, I thought I would tell Swami, just inform Swami. So I sat down there, all my friends were in Puttaparthi. Almost all the students had gone from the hostel. Only the local students, some students used to stay back. Outstate students, almost all of them go to Parthi. I didn't go. So cryingly, I sat near the altar and I wrote a letter to Swami. Next week again, my father had sent money and we went to Puttaparthi. I wanted to give the letter to Swami. I had just narrated my feelings, that's all. I sat behind our warden Seva madam, and when Swami came, I just sat in my place and I showed the letter. Swami stretched the hand and took it. It was a Sunday. So we had darshan in the morning, in the evening, and we went back after evening darshan. The next day was Monday. Early in the morning when I was coming down for breakfast, warden Seva madam called me and she said, "Susmita, you don't have to pay your mess fees anymore. Swami will pay for you." And there I was completely struck. Just yesterday I just wrote to Swami my pain, that's all. And here is the Supreme Mother reacting immediately. There was no delay. And just after that I reached college, and there in the office I was called and I was told that I am granted some scholarship which can be used for my college fees also. So that was my second year PUC, and since then I did not pay mess fees. Swami used to pay the fees for me, and college fees was sufficed with my scholarship. It was in 1981-82 when Swami visited Anantapur campus. Our students had presented the drama Mirabai on the stage. When Swami came, he first came to the hostel. Then first he came, went to the restroom, and then we all came to the auditorium. And we all were seated, then Swami entered the auditorium. Very fortunately, I happened to be seated on the second row. And Swami came and sat right in front of me. No special chair was kept for Swami. There was no fan in the auditorium those days. And Swami came and sat in front of me. Beside him, there were some dignitaries and also Brother Radhakrishna beside him. At his feet was seated our principal ma'am's husband. It so happened it was quite hot and sultry and humid, and Swami started fanning himself with the handkerchief. I was feeling very, very, very uncomfortable that Swami is feeling so hot. And just to my dismay, beside the chair where Swami was seated, beside him there were chairs vacant onto his right. And under that chair there was one notebook cardboard lying over there. I do not know from where it came. So slowly I picked up that and I started fanning Swami. When I was fanning Swami, of course it must have given some comfort to Swami. And after some time he started asking me for that cardboard. He started turning, just this photograph. This reminds me of that situation. Swami started looking at me like this. Ivu bangaru, chetu noppi padtundi. Give, my child, give me, your hand will pain. So many times Swami asked me, how will I give that cardboard to Swami? Had it been a fan, a plastic fan or something, I may have handed over. It's a notebook cardboard, and with that I was fanning Swami. How will I hand over that to Swami? So in this conversation between me and Swami, one lesson that I learned is that He is Supreme God, and just see the way He is concerned for a very, very insignificant human being like me. Chetan noppi padtundi, your hand will pain. You give me that, I will fan myself. God asking us through that experience, through, as Swami always said, my life is my message. Through his life, through his behavior, through his word, through his movement, through his action, he kept teaching us, tirelessly he kept teaching us. And today, we are only to learn from the words that he has left for us. His words are his message, and we have to stick to it. Pick up a few words and then start practicing them in our life. After some time, of course, people around realized that it was hot and they placed one table fan in front of Swami, and I stopped fanning Swami. My friend beside me took it and she was fanning Swami with that from behind. That was of the experience of that day. The next was our first year UG, and my batch was the first batch to follow the syllabus which was prepared by our institute, to follow the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning syllabus. We were the first batch. So to say, we were the experimental batch. And as you know, that Swami has been giving free education for everybody. There is no fees. And in the hostel also, I wasn't paying any mess fees at all, as Swami was paying for me. So since then, till my education, I completed my PG. It was Swami who was giving me my fees. And to tell you the truth, till today, I have never faced any financial problem. Anything that I need is always there. There is no such situation where I felt that I do not have money to get that. Till date. That is Saima. And in our first year, we had 9 subjects. We were the experimental batch. Dr. Gokak, our first Vice Chancellor, had set the syllabus for us. And we had 2 awareness papers, 2 elective papers, 2 language papers and 3 main subjects. So what we used to do, we, we couldn't complete our courses during college time. So we used to have classes in the night in the hostel itself. Our ma'ams used to take class for us in the hostel itself. And first year, we did not have semester exams. The very first year, we had yearly exam, annual exam. Final exam was annual exam. So that was supposed to be in April. Whole hostel, other students were following the Tirupati University or Krishnadevara University syllabus. So they all had finished their exams, all had gone. Only 38 of us were left behind with Jema madam in the hostel. Of course, cooks were there. And then we were so afraid, so much to study. We did not know how to write awareness, electives. We were finding it very difficult. Our ma'ams were trying their level best to teach us. And there was Swami. He sent for us in Parthi before our exams. When we were reached Parthi, he called us for an interview. And we told Swami, we are so very afraid. We don't know how to write exams. We don't know how to handle our papers. Then Swami told, it is here that there was a turning point in my life. Here Swami told us, just don't worry, you do your duty, rest I will take care. You study. We said, Swami, 9 subjects, very free. We were so, Swami was very approachable. We were so free to talk to Swami, everything. Nobody intervened us. So he told Swami, preparing is so difficult and all that. Swami said, see, I'll just tell you. When you're in the hostel, suppose your younger brother or younger sister writes you a letter. He or she asks, Akka, how are you studying, how is everything going on? And after that, we must be writing, Akka, get me Swami's pendant for me, one Swami's ring for me, and also one vibhuti packet for me when you come home. So what do? When you read the letter, you just go through the letter and whatever is important, or you have to take one pendant, Swami's pendant, one vibhuti packet and one ring for your brother. So this is what you pick up and keep aside the letter. The same way you've got to study your books. When you study your lessons, you just have to go through the lesson, pick up the important points, remember them and go to exam. Swami is there. I will see today. I will see. I will see. He said thrice. Swami said, Muttaga, rendu maatlu meeru gurtu unchukali. You have to remember 2 things very importantly. What are they? Self-confidence and faith in God. Self-confidence and faith in God. These 2 things you always have to remember and never to forget in life. What is self-confidence? As Swami explained to us, self-confidence is you become so confident of yourself that you do not rely on anything external to you. The power, the strength should come from within. The inner strength should be strengthened so much that you are confident of yourself. How will that inner strength be strengthened? It is when you put in all your efforts, you turn all the stones upturned and complete all your researches. You equip yourself so well that you are confident. It is different from overconfidence normally that people think it is. It is not overconfidence. Self-confidence is the strength from within. That's what Swami said. And more to add to it is faith in God. What is faith in God? Once you are confident and confident of the inner strength, you realize that it is God within you. And it is the strength that comes from God that is within you. That is faith in God. So here I remember a small example at that level when we were students, one experience, how we understood, sort of how we started practicing this self-confidence and faith in God. One of my classmates, she was an MPC student. We had exams in, it started there, 4th semester, 1984. 4th semester exams we had. And then what happened, this student, this friend of mine, she was a physics student, NPC student, and ma'am had taught interference and diffraction lesson. Somehow this friend of mine did not understand the chapter. Did not understand at all. All her classmates sat down one by one to explain to her what it was. She never understood. Exam was on 5th, it is 24th March 1984. So she went to the HOD, Ma'am Rani Madam. Rani Madam explained to her in vain. She understood nothing. Night when she sat down with her friend, both 2 friends of mine used to do combined study. And when sat down with the friend again tried to explain to her. to no effect. She still didn't understand. She got fed up with herself. She said, go, I am not able to understand. Swami only has to explain to me in my dream. And she went back to sleep. Tired as she hit the pillow and went off to sleep. And there she dreams Swami is standing on the quadrangle and beckoning her. And she quickly picks up the physics book from the shelf and runs towards the Swami. Swami opens the chapter, interference and diffraction, and starts explaining to her. By giving some practical examples. Very pragmatic examples he gives. He draws diagrams, everything, and then explains to her. She understands everything. The whole chapter is clear in her head now. And then Swami says, have you seen the problem in page number 108? She nods her head. No, Swami. Swami says, how will you see? You have so many life problems. How will you look into this page? See, he says. And then she gets up. Swami has gone and she gets up. And she's so happy that she has understood the chapter. She runs to her friends, classmates and tells, Swami explained to me, Swami explained to me. And also Swami told the page number 108, the problem did you see? Now she had missed and her friends also had missed, but now they thought better we go and see that chapter. So they opened the book, page number 108 and the problem. All of them solved and they went for the exams, March 25th, 1984. And lo and behold, in the question paper, that problem was there. And each of them could answer that problem in the exam. This is what a simple practice of at that age, tender age, formative age, how Swami teaches us the values of self-confidence and faith in God. She had tried all her methods, but she couldn't. But her faith in God was there. Swami will explain to me. Our reliability on Him. That ultimately He is the last resort. He is there. He will see to it. And He did. So this is what it was. And then it went on in the interview. Swami told very many things. He told us. And this is how we came back. And when we came back, it was March and that year, that exam I'm telling. Yearly exam, first year of 1982-83. So very hot, and Swami had planned to go to Brindavan. Come to Brindavan, in fact. So it was so hot, and then we all said, Swami, you are going to Brindavan, it is so hot, we have got exams, we are scared. Swami said, just don't worry, you have your exams in April. On April 1st, there is going to be heavy rains, and the whole environment will be very cool, and very conveniently, comfortably you can write your exams. Yes, true. As his sankalpa is, on 1st April, there was a downpour. Heavy rains. Whole atmosphere cooled down. And a whole month we had to write exams. You can imagine we had 9 papers as well as options were there. So the whole month we took writing exams. However, it was comfortable and very convenient. That was the first year. And then every year was to go, and that was in final year. When we came to second year, 1983-84, for the first time we had the sports meet in Anantapur. That year, that was the first sports meet, and I think each campus had their own campus. We in Anantapur, we had our own sports meet. We were learning yogasanas, we were learning different games and all that. We wanted to do, display in front of Swami, whatever little we had. They were very simple. But then enthusiastically Swami sat and appreciated every bit that we put on that day. And he used to tell the guests, see, girls, how they are cycling. We did have cycling also then, some cycling fits and all that. And yogasanas, some pyramids and all that we built. Swami appreciated all that. It is Swami. He prepares everything. He trains us. But when the credit is to be given, he shows it to the students. Children are doing it. They don't have anybody to teach. They are learning on their own. They are practicing that. See how girls are doing. All that, as if we only did everything. Everything is done by him. Without him, we are just nobody. Without him, we can do just nothing. But it is he who does it. That was all over. Second year and third year, we had. So it was during this time, during those holidays, I think 82, 83 or 83, 84, Swami announced that during the vacation, we will have Gram Seva. Nearby villages near to Puttaparthi, the students would go and do Seva over there. Those of us who wanted to go positively stayed back in Patti. Swami said, no, go to your parents. Please, your parents, stay with your parents for some time and then come back. Those of you who want to join. So somehow all of us were there from my batch. So all of us were started. Swami had arranged everything. How to go, there were buses. Brothers used to go to different villages and we girls, sisters used to go to different villages. There were buses arranged by Swami. Early morning we would get up and breakfast would be ready for us at 5:30. Go to the canteen, have hot breakfast, tea, coffee and board our buses. Our buses used to be in front of the ladies' canteen door, where we could, when we board our buses, we can see Swami. Swami used to come on the balcony, first floor, and give us, bless us before we went. The moment we start Om for bhajan in the bus, Swami would come, open the silver door, come over there, bless all of us, and then we would go. That's how the Gram Seva started for the students in the university. And this way we would go and we would go to the villages. Brothers used to go and do some construction work, whatever. We used to go and do, clean the villages, clean the temples, schools, and then teach the ladies in the village sanitation and also how to make sai protein. And sometimes those hand pumps used to be there, used to clean around the surrounding slushy area, carry big boulders and put there and all that. And then Swami used to send us food, lunch. We used to have lunch, rest for a while and work little bit, wind up our work and start back to Prashantinila, to Mandir. And when we would come back near Ganesh gate, we would be singing throughout. The bhajan would be heard. Before that, Swami would finish his darshan rounds and would just be waiting for us to come into the Mandir campus. He would be just something here and there, this side, that side, this side, that side, like a mother. When a mother sends a little baby to the nursery school, when it is time for the baby to return from school, how she behaves. Swami used to be like that. And once we entered through the Gopram gate near the canteen, buses used to be halted. We used to rush to Mandir. We used to take our places beside the Mandir. Those days, sand days, there was no Kulwant hall. There was only Purnachandra auditorium, and in front of the Mandir, Prashanti Mandir, there was sand. Arches were there, arches were there for shade, and there was a boundary wall too. We used to sit there and Swami would come and he would give Banganpili mangoes to each of us. Big, huge mangoes to each of us. He would see that he gives to each person. Some of us by hand, some of us he used to throw, some of us he used to throw in such a way to land up on the lap or on the hand. Each of us used to get, and then the Swami would start. What did you all do? Then before Pushpa madam used to be the active one, most active one to relate what we did. Before she starts telling, Swami will relate everything that we did in those villages, whatever kind of seva we did. You all did this, you all did that, girls went this and this, very good, Swami is very happy, you all did like that. And then Swami also would add, you girls, you all carried the big stones and boulders to put around the hand pumps and all. Don't do all that work. Girls do not carry heavy weights and all that. Let the village boys are there, young people, encourage them to come and do. Encourage them, motivate them. They should come and help you all doing that. You all don't do that. He used to tell. After that, finishing everything, okay, you all go now, have dinner and take rest. Tomorrow morning, again you would go. So, happily we would run, have those mangoes properly with the peel, only the seed used to leave behind, and then have our dinner and go to rest. Mind you, the whole day we would get up early in the morning and it is already late 9 o'clock. Again we would be up by 4 for the next day. This is how the Gram Seva week went on, and the last day Swami accompanied us. And Swami's car was in front, our buses were behind. And the sneaky roads that were climbing up the hill, Swami would be up and he would take out his hand, wave the handkerchief. And we girls used to just come one side of the bus to wave back to Swami. And the driver, Amma, Pillalu, Vandi Padipotundi, be careful, it will become imbalance, bus will fall over. We never used to listen. We just wanted to have darshan of Swami. And Swami used to wave his handkerchief on the up road there. And very significant thing that we all observed was, all these days when we went for service work, to the villages, there used to be thorny bushes. You see Rayalaseema area, rocks, thorny bushes on the hills, nothing much, greenery, very little greenery. But the day Swami went, There was lushy green in the flowers. Trees were filled with flowers and also green leaves. It's as if Mother Nature was ready, prepared, all decked up to welcome her Lord. Beautiful scenery to see. Swami was so happy. He went ahead, he went to the villages, he spoke to the villagers, and he left the villages earlier to us. We all followed later. That was that. Next year onwards, we all started Gram Seva. Every year, we had been having Gram Seva during that period of time. After the degree course, during the last year, final year, one more significant thing started with us was that Swami's outgoing students interview. Swami would invariably give outgoing students interview, would talk to each of us what we would do, and would tell us, see, you children, this is your mother's home, and you people, either you get married or work anytime, come with your husbands, come with your in-laws, come back to Puttaparthi, come to Prashanthi, stay as long as you want, be happy and then go. Keep coming to Prashanthi, Swami used to tell us, and asked each of us to do. I asked Swami whether I would continue my PG. Since it was 5 years integrated course, I started doing PG in philosophy, master's degree in philosophy. And then in the interview, one more beautiful thing, how Swami showed us his omnipresence. Swami keeps giving us so many signs of his omnipresence, only we have got to be alert. One of my friends was there, she was Chandana Mukherjee, she's no more now. She was ill by health somehow, and then when we were having interview in the small room, so many of us were packed. She started coughing very badly, so very badly she started coughing. Then Swami said, drink water. She was coughing and eyes were red literally, and I started tearing. And one more friend, she had got tender coconut water in a silver tumbler. And Swami said, hey, na glassy? He asked her. He took the glass and poured that tender coconut water in Chandana's mouth. Here, just remember, he told that friend of mine, na glass e. It seems my friend told her mother used that silver tumbler to give water to Swami every day in the altar. She used to keep filled water with it and keep it in the altar every day, and that became Swami's glass. Na glassy, give me my glass. He asked for his glass and gave water to Chandana. See, Swami is there everywhere. Swami omnipresent. Slowly, as we were also growing up, and the faith that had already started when we were at tender age, 15 years old when we came to college, and slowly that faith, that love for Swami, that faith for Swami started increasing and becoming strong and stronger. And then we finished the interview. Swami clicked photos with each of us, each groups. In one group, there were only 2 students, but he did click with those 2 friends also. And then that interview was over. I continued with my PG, and then PG course, of course, philosophy, I loved it, and I loved Swami. I wanted to be in Anantapur, and by Bhagwan's grace, the girl, few years ago, 6-7 years ago, the girl who had entered into the campus without knowing how to speak a sentence in English, earned a gold medal by Bhagwan's grace in her master's degree in philosophy. It was absolutely Swami. His grace, his compassion, when he wants to give, he gives abundantly. And after my master's degree was over, with Swami's permission, I went to Madras University to do my MPhil. When I was doing my MPhil, almost the year was over. I was writing the annual exams, and my thesis was halfway through. I got a letter from the university, and in the letter there was the form for lecturership, and I was asked to fill it up and then come along with the form to Prashanthi Nilayam for interview. So I had just completed, I just finished my exams, 1 or 2 papers were there, I completed and rushed to Prashanthi Nilayam. There were so many candidates for the post of lectureship in Anantapur into the Department of Philosophy, but as Swami had already willed it, I was selected to be a faculty member in the Department of Philosophy. I joined the faculty, and then as a faculty member, when we were there, at that time Swami had already started fixing the date of December 25th as the Messenger's Day. The former students of Swami, girl students of Swami's Institute, used to celebrate that particular day as Messengers of Sathya Sai Day, 25th December. So, since I had already completed my studies and I was a faculty member, I used to come to Puttaparthi along with the other of my colleagues, sisters who were working in Anantapur, and some of them were working in primary school, and from far and wide our sisters used to come. My duty was to put floral rangoli for Swami. We used to have programs in Purnachandra those days. There was no Kulwant and sand days as usual. My duty was to put a rangoli. So Swami used to stay behind Purnachandra auditorium in that room. So this outside, this side coming towards the mandir, that pathway, inside the auditorium, those days, from the stage towards the hall, there were two flights of staircase. One on the in front of the gents side, the other in front of the ladies side. Very broad flights of staircase used to be there, and I was supposed to decorate those two flights of staircase with flowers, and in between those two staircases, right in the center of in the middle of the stage, coming down, there was a very narrow staircase. Narrow, I mean to say, maybe 1 foot breadth. That was probably just for emergency case that flight used to be there. Very rarely Swami used to come. Swami never used to take that stairs at all. However, I put big rangolis on the either side, and this middle one was left and there were some flowers. I thought, let me put here also in case Swami takes this staircase to get down. So what I did, there were 4 steps. So first step, I had different marigold, different flowers and some leaves and all. I decorated that. Second step, what I did have some red rose petals. So I made a big red heart with rose petals, red rose petals. I made a big heart on the second this thing. And when I was arranging that, I was thinking and praying, Swami, really, if at all you are in my heart, if at all I have placed in your heart, you have entered my heart, you will come through this and enter into this heart here. Then it will be confirmed to me that you have entered my heart. I just prayed that. Next 2 steps again with marigold flowers only I decorated. It was almost time. People were coming inside the hall and I rushed, got ready, and my friend had kept a place for me. That was in the second block in the Purnachandra auditorium, but next to the middle carpet that goes in the Purnachandra auditorium. I was next to the carpet. And then when it was time, almost 4:30, 4 o'clock, I think Swami came. And lo and behold, which he never did, Swami came and took that narrow staircase to come down to the hall. And he put his feet on the first step, and second step, when he's stepping onto the heart, he looked up, and I was there sitting near the carpet with folded hands, full of gratitude with all my heart, mind, soul, every cell of my body. Swami, thank you. Thanks a lot, Swami, for confirming that you are in my heart. Swami came down. From there, he looked at me. He came down. He gave darshan on the gents side, went to the ladies side, finished darshan and came. And since then, many memories Swami has given, many experiences Swami has given to enrich my confidence in myself. Always I felt my Swami is there. And after I worked in Anantapur, I was as a faculty member for 4 years. And then after that, I got married in 1992. And there again, as I was destined to, as Swami had planned, as it was his divine will, I got into a married life and my life started. Gradually, I started feeling that I had a personal challenge to face. Life is a challenge, face it. Swami has taught us. We are supposed to face the challenge and not run away from it. And so far, the faith that had sprouted in my heart has strengthened to the extent to tell that my Swami is always with me. Anything happened, either explicitly or implicitly, very spontaneously my thought would come, Swami is with me. The thought was so much in me, even in my dream, even in my sleep, even in any time, I would say Swami is with me. So it went on and it was aggravating. It was becoming very difficult. Every year, at least, Swami used to bring me to Puttaparthi for December 25th, Messenger's Day. And then whenever I would come, I would tell Swami, Vachano, Swami, I came. Because he had told us in our interview, this is your mother's house, so when I come, I must tell my mother I have come. Swami Vachano, Santosam Bangaru, he said. So when I accepted life and I wanted to face the challenge that was given to me. Time passed by. Every year we used to come during December 25th for some days. I used to recharge my battery, have Swami's darshan, tell everything to Swami in my mind and go. And here I just want to make it a point to tell that I am such a person, although I lived with Swami in his physical presence when Swami was very active during his 50s. Since 1970s I started seeing Swami. Seeing Swami, physically we were connected, but still I wouldn't be so hankering to be physically close to Swami. I wouldn't ever run to sit in the first row. I never would like to attract his attention doing anything. I was always very complacent, very satisfied, very contented with my work. Always I used to look within. I wanted to please Swami. I wanted to follow what Swami said. I just want to do things what Swami like and wanted an acknowledgement from him. And the acknowledgement used to be just one eye-to-eye contact. Wherever I sat, whenever I had made any effort, Swami would look at me, and that moment, that's all. That was confirmed for me. It was a confirmation from Swami for me that, well, I am doing well. That's how it used to go on. And gradually time passed. My children, I used to come to Parthi along with my children, and those days Swami shifted from, he got injuries and then started coming on wheelchair. Time passed by, life was difficult. I had taken up life as a challenge. I used to inform Swami everything mentally, every thought that passed my mind reached Swami. It became a habit for me to inform Swami everything. And anything that I did, I always felt the confidence that Swami has validated what I am thinking, what I am doing. Because every time that strength from within, anywhere, anything, any step I am going to take, any decision I am going to make, I would talk to Swami, inform him. I did not want any sign, only thing very strongly from within it would come that this has to be done. Even in the face of choices, in the face of adversities, in the face of difficulties, it was from within Swami used to guide. My correspondence with Swami was always internal connection. As Swami had told, we had seen Swami giving, namaskaram tisko. He used to read and he used to give us Pada Namaskaram. He used to tell Tisko, Chesko Namaskaram. From there we shifted to Swami used to taught us only touch. Only touch. He would give us Pada Namaskaram. We girls used to sit in line and take Namaskaram. Only touch. And it was such that since Swami was the center of our lives, my friends and my contemporaries, those who are here, I am very sure they will be able to resonate with me that Swami was the pivot of our life mentally, physically and spiritually. What we wanted to do was only to please Swami. So Swami used to tell, only touch, we used to only touch, not put our head on that. Earlier days we could kiss, we could put our forehead on Swami's feet. Now only we started touching with our hand, that's all. And gradually that went to only Man mein namaskar karo. Man mein namaskar karo. Do it in your mind. No touching also. Swami would just pass by us. We would be sitting in lines. He would give us saris and Man mein namaskar karo. Man mein namaskar karo. This gradual training that Swami gave from physical to slowly receding into internalizing that experience. Feel the Pada Namaskar within your heart. That's how it went on, and practically these experiences, these trainings helped me rather in my life, leading my life. So I used to connect. It so happened towards 2009-10, things were bad. Things were very bad and I could take it no more. It was very difficult for me. He used to bring me. He knew very well. He was aware. I knew very well. Swami knows everything. Even writing letter also was very rare for me because I didn't want to trouble Swami reading a letter. I don't know why that mentality I had. I wouldn't ask Swami anything. I wouldn't tell anything Swami. I knew that Swami knows everything. Even when I write a letter, first line will be, Swami, I know you know everything. But still, just to satisfy myself, I am writing the letter. It used to be like that. So, that was 2009-10. We came to Parthi, 2009 I think. We came to Parthi, Swami was on the wheelchair. Things were very bad at my end and I just wanted to put it on Swami. So I was sitting next to, Kulwant was already constructed. I was sitting next to Mandir along with the ex-students block. I was the first person in the first line. Before me, there was the one security girl sitting. Swami came from the veranda on the wheelchair, and you already must have noticed there is one big block of people in the Kulwant hall on the ladies' side. That big block contained NRIs, for foreigners, devotees, hospital people and the school teachers sit in the center block. After that we used to sit ex-students. In between there was the pathway surrounding that block in the center of the hall on the ladies' side. Swami came from the veranda and at the end of the block, that is on the corner, tip of the block there, he just halted there. And from there, Swami was looking at me. Why? I was almost broke. I was sobbing so much and I knew very well Swami doesn't like us crying. I was crying so much, I didn't want Swami to know, as if he doesn't know. I had covered my whole face, only my eyes were seen, but I was sobbing like a mad person. Swami halted there and he went on literally 3 to 4 minutes. He halted there and he was looking at me, and the security girl near me was going on telling, Didi, Swami is looking, Didi, Swami is looking. But I couldn't control myself. I had no control over myself. Swami gave me a good 5 minutes to finish my crying, and then Swami came. When he came close to me, he stretched his left hand onto me. I did not have a letter, neither did I have a letter, nor anything to. And we were also trained as seeing Swami from his 50s, and we being the ladies, Swami maintained a considerable distance between. We never sort of from our side touching Swami and then holding his hand. All those things we never used to do. So I didn't try to hold Swami's hand. He stretched his left hand onto me. And in my mind, I just looked at Swami and he was looking at me. In my mind, I just thought, Swami, you hold my hand. I want you to hold my hand. I remembered a small story here. There was a father and a daughter, a small little daughter. Father and the daughter were going on a bridge, and the bridge was little uneven. So the father said, Beta, hold my hand. The daughter said, Father, you hold my hand so that my hand does not slip. If I hold your hand, probably my hand may slip from your hand. So please hold my hand. And somehow my thought in my heart was, Swami, please hold my hand. And in my heart of hearts, I slipped my hand into Swami's hand. And then since then, Swami has been holding my hand. And I know very well he will never drop it. And after that experience, Swami went round that center block. He finished round the giving darshan on the ladies' side. Again came back to the same spot where he had halted when he started his rounds. Halted there, looked at me, and then went back. After I went back home, things started becoming better. There was a U-turn, much better. Slowly, things started becoming much better. And it may not be sounding very, very interesting or very significant to some. Here I would like to just tell you how Swami has acknowledged what I am telling, what I am relating now. The same experience I related in my interview with Radio Sai in 2015. As I was relating this, when I started relating about my challenge in life, you may refer to it, you find it in the e-magazine 2015, Radio Sai e-magazine. When I started relating this, I said, I have no regrets because Swami gives us tests. So God, as a goldsmith takes the gold, and to make an ornament, it has to heat the gold, it has to hammer it, it has to melt it, it has to give it a shape. Many hardships the gold has to go through to be turned into a beautiful ornament. The same way, God takes us. And to make this soul a beautiful ornament worthy to be adored by the Lord, He gives us tests. And this life is that. We have different varieties of tests, different ways because different ornaments. So, this to make me an ornament, these are different processes my Lord, my Master has been giving me. When I was talking this, Mrs. Karuna Sarup Munsi, the one who was interviewing me, she just paused. Suddenly she paused and she was looking to her right. And immediately she announced, I have something to tell. And what was it? As I was speaking, she saw from her right side corner that something was moving onto the floor. She was wondering what it was. When she looked, she saw a bangle was swirling and falling onto the ground. It had not fallen onto the ground. And it is that bangle that was falling onto the ground. Immediately she went up, she picked up the bangle and she said, she does not wear bangles. This is a glass bangle with varieties, rainbow colors. She picked it up and she said, I don't wear bangles, neither do ladies come into this Radio Sai office. From where did this bangle come? She gave it to me. She said, this is Swami's acknowledgement for what she is relating. This is that bangle. So I don't want to prove myself. I just lay my heart in gratitude to Swami. Whatever I am today, whatever I have today, whatever I think today, it is because of Swami and Swami alone. If I am, it's because Swami is. Without Swami, this one is nobody. That is all I want to say. To take away, I just would like to tell, especially my youngsters, first cultivate self-confidence. Self-confidence is putting in all possible efforts that we can. So much so that there is nothing more to do from our side, and the rest He will handle. And when we put in everything and look up at Him, it is said, when you kneel down near God, God stands up. When He stands up for you, nobody in the creation can be against you. Have that faith. Trust God. So moving from self-confidence to faith in God, once the faith in God is strengthened, turns into trust. Trust is, yes, God will do. No saying, yes, God will. No, there is no doubt about it. God will do. It's a demand. He will see to it. This will come only when we surrender totally to Swami. Swami, thy will be done. I have nothing to do. I cannot do anything. Thy will be done. Now take away for the youngsters. I would sincerely say that of all kinds of persons, of everybody in the world, most dependable is God. Always depend on God. And we have to have intense faith in God. So much of faith in God that we trust that He is there. His presence with us, His presence in our being, as Swami says, and everywhere I am there with you. That has to be realized. It doesn't happen within a day. It doesn't happen overnight. It is years of sadhana that can bring us closer to Swami. So, accepting, becoming confident in oneself, having faith in Swami, strengthening that faith, surrendering everything to Him, accepting life as His will always reach us at His lotus feet. That's it. Thank you all. Thank you, Brindavan team Samarpan. Thanks all of you, those who have been with me, have given me this chance to express my thoughts as He willed it. Thanks everybody. Thanks one and all. Thanks Swami. Sai Ram.
Om Sri Sai Ram, offering my loving pranams at the lotus feet of my beloved Swami. The thankful heart will find in every hour some heavenly blessings. As Swami just showed us with a rose dropping during the Bangle episode in Susmita sister's talk. The beautiful experiences narrated in the past hour by Srimati Susmita Patnaik smooth out aberrations of the past few years left in our minds. Right from her Prabhat Darshan of Swami, during her very first Suprabhata, Susmita's sister was blessed to have Swami's outstretched hand in her own, guiding her through moments of exhilaration as well as personal challenges, through appreciation of little acts of love as well as standing by her through tearful times. Through his own life, Swami has taught us how to live ours, as was spoken about in the talk. Discipline, kindness, confidence, and faith were some of the core values that we, as daughters of Sai, learned while living with Swami. On behalf of all of us here, I extend my sincere thanks to Susmita's sister for taking us through the flower-strewn memory lanes of her journey with Mother Sai. I also thank the organizers of today's program, the alumni of Sri Sathya Sai Educational Institutions, and other brothers and sisters who have put in their technical expertise and time towards today's session. My heartfelt thanks to the Sri Sathya Sai Seva organization Karnataka for their ongoing support for all our activities in Brindavan Ashram. Many thanks to our virtual audience, all of you listeners and viewers, who make this program a collective effort to raise our hearts to Swami in Samarpan. Gratitude to Swami is in our breath. With each breath we take and with every heartbeat, we thank you, Swami, for giving us a family, for inspiration to derive joy from and to kindle your love in us. Please join me as we end today's program with the Aarati. Jai Sai Ram.
जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी सत्य साई हरे भक्त जना संरक्षक भक्त जना संरक्षक पति महेश्वर ओम जय जगदीश हरे शशिवदना श्रीकरा सर्वा प्राणपते स्वामी सर्वा प्राणपते आश्रित कल्प समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः जय बोलो